I need to preface this episode by saying that we awoke Tuesday to some news regarding Blitzchung that shocked all of us. I don't feel that I'm the right person to discuss this news, as I want to be very careful not to spread misinformation on a sensitive issue. I would like to recommend a statement by Brian Keebler published on October 9th titled Statement on Blitzchung, where he shares his personal views on the matter. I have a link in the show notes.
Hi, and welcome to FrazlCast. Climb aboard the Gnome Train.
Chugga, 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 chugga.
Please make sure to keep your limbs and experimental instruments inside the train at all times. And now, on with the show.
A podcast by a Blizzard fan gnome about World of Warcraft and geeky stuff. I promise you, they do talk about the World of Warcraft. They just go off the rails sometimes.
Well, I'm Frazley, and I am joined by Ian, or as he's also known, Habant. Habant. Oh!
It's okay. I've gotten to the point, I'm like, you know what? Whatever. Habant, Hab, whatever. I'm over it at this point. I'm just like, it's fine. I mean, even with Ian, the number of ways people pronounce that, it's the curse of names I've chosen or were given. It's just like, people are going to pronounce them wrong. I'm okay with it.
I had an entire episode with Draven, and I called him Draven the whole time, and at the end he's like, it's Draven. I'm like, oh, I couldn't go back and change how I pronounced it.
He's like, you couldn't have called me on that after the first one?
I mean, no, he's nice, and he's good, and he was like, okay. But he said, just for the future, I was like, okay. So now it's in my head. Draven.
Yeah. I love Draven.
Oh, he's awesome. But you know who else I love? I love you.
Hey, I love you too, man.
It's about 3 or 4 months of it that we met, and you served me pancakes. It was really good.
That's what I do for a living. I make food and make people happy.
Oh, it was good. Our entire table was like, wow. I mean, it was really good. I still taste it.
Did you not brush your teeth since then? I mean, that's a little odd, but hey.
Well, I mean, save on toothpaste. It helps.
As long as your dentist is okay with that, I'm okay with it too.
Nice. Okay, cool. It's Ian approved. So on this episode, I'm going to get to know Ian, the husband of Cara, who I talked with on episode 91. So we will get to hear their gaming history, talk about the patch 8.3 news, and more. But before we get into that, Epicinsanity, what time is it?
It's time to go around the table.
Great idea. So what have you been up to recently? We'll start with Ian.
A lot of everything. I mean, I'm on Raid Team Rubber Chickens and CCR. We raid every Tuesday at, what is it? I have to do math because it's 6 p.m. server till 9 p.m. server. I'm on East Coast, and I know Airy Peak, is on West Coast, so I have to do conversions there. But yeah, we raid 3 hours a week, normal, usually. We've been pushing a little bit of heroics. We were now 3 of 9, 3 of 8. I'm
nice.
So bad at this on heroic. So we've gotten 3 down. Hab's my main tank for the group. He's 428 item level, so he's getting his stuff done. I've been trying to get back on my WoW gold grind a little bit. I've fallen off and slacked off. I was like, just gotten to a point where for a little while there I was just logging in on raid night, but I'm like, man, I think it was when I started to get that notification that my WoW token was running out in a month instead of like the 6 months, 12 months that it was from just buying them when they went dirt cheap at the beginning. I'm like, oh, I should probably start making gold again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Other gaming stuff, I've been playing Pokemon Black for the first time because I realized out of all the generations of Pokemon that are out, it's the only one I haven't played one version of yet. And with Sword and Shield coming out in a little over a month, I'm hyped for that. So I was like, let me go ahead and get everything. I play them all, and then when Sword and Shield comes out, I can just put the trusty DS to the side and just move on to the Switch and be like, all right, I love you, DS. It's been fun, but I got to move on to the big shiny now.
So do I take that to mean that you both got a Switch? Because I remember when I was talking with Cara, she was so excited about Pocket Camp and Animal Crossing.
At the moment, I'm the only one with the Switch. There's money stashed and saved so that as soon as New Leaf comes out, or New Horizon, not which?
I think it's New Horizon.
Yeah, New Horizon. New Leaf is the last one on the DS. When that one comes out in March, because they pushed the date on it, she's going to get hers then. She's waiting because she's excited for the fact there may be one of those like special themed ones with the Animal Crossing like themes on the deck on it and everything. So she's waiting to get hers for that.
Nice.
She's not as excited for Pokemon as I am, but Animal Crossing, she's like, I'm all about it. Let's do this.
Absolutely. And I think she's the only one on Twitter I see talking about Pocket Camp. And so I'm like
she's obsessed with Pocket Camp. Like, I used to think that I would get obsessed with games, but when it comes to Animal Crossing and especially Pocket Camp, I'm like, wow, maybe you should just take a moment, put it down. It's fine. It'll be there later. No, she's not that bad, but she definitely plays a lot of Pocket Camp. And then outside of gaming, it's just work. Being the kitchen manager, chef of a local restaurant, it can be grueling. I get in there 7 a.m. every day. On lucky days, I leave at 3. On unlucky days, I leave at like 8 or 9.
wow.
Those are long days. Those days don't happen very often. But those are days like one of my night guys called out. I can't get anyone to fill it. So, well, looks like I'm working an unexpected double today. It's also why every day I take the Switch with me, just in case I get one of those. So instead of driving the 20, 30 minutes it takes to get home for an hour break to then literally just turn around and drive back, I can just take a minute, sit in the office, just play the Switch, decompress for an hour, and go, all right, I'm ready. Let's do this. It's been good. I mean, we've got some new guys. They're learning. They're getting better. They're not where I would like them to be, but, they're new. I've accepted the fact that they're new, just like a new member to your raid team. They're not going to be the greatest right out the bat, especially if you're a new player. We'll get you there. I had a good day with my new guy today. He has a lot of promise showing, so I'm like, all right, I'm cool with this.
I've always found that interesting. Like when I'm at a restaurant, I will look at like different people. There's one restaurant that they sadly closed at one of the locations near us, but we got there and there was a new person there and they were working. It was interesting to see how they were taking their time and stuff, learning all the things, and yet somebody next to them was like doing all the motion. And I remember when that person next to him, when they had started, they were the same way. It's fun to see that movement from incompetent to competent.
That was the fun today. My new guy, I was trying to hold back to let him catch up, and he was like, no, I got it right there. It's already ready. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I'll go ahead. He's like, yeah, man, I've been trying to keep up with you and pick up the pace a little bit. And I'm like, well, I've been holding back and just kind of doing it. Do you want me to kick it to 5th gear and you see if you can really keep up? And he's like, no, don't do that yet. I'm not there yet. I'm like, all right, well, 3rd gear? 3rd gear? He's like, 3rd gear sounds good. I'm like, cool. We can do 3rd gear.
Nice.
But yeah, it's just one of those things when you've been there. The restaurant's been open almost 8 years. I've been there since 2 months after it opened. So there's literally like not much in that building, at least in the kitchen and even the front of the house. I can go out and wait tables. I'm not a fan of doing that. I've worked the bar. It was a weekday, so it wasn't even that busy. And I was just like, no, I hate this. I don't like doing this, but I know how to do the computer. I mean, there's not much in that building I can't do. And just being in the kitchen, it's so second nature. I'm like, all right, they've got that. I've got this. He's there. How many tickets? What's going on? It's just like, I've described it to people. When you do the job I do, especially during the weekends, my job is just keeping all this plates spinning. It's like one of those competitions. How many plates can it keep spinning? And I just have to keep them all spinning. And if I have my solid people, my job, I say, can be the easiest job in the entire restaurant. But it can also be the hardest one in the entire restaurant. If this guy's not on his game, he was out drinking late last night, so he's hungover. It's just like, it can be a rough one or easy. And so, but I love it. I would say like I probably have a mild ADD, ADHD, and just being able to like have like all these little things. It's like a job that's just built for my brain. It just makes sense and it works. And I just keep track of like all these little timers, especially during the week. I've got this going over here, got that going over there, doing this. It's fun. I love it.
Are you good at those restaurant games where you have to do multiple things at the same time, or do you not want to play those because they're too much like work?
There was one of them, I forget, I bought it a while ago, where it was like they come in, they give the orders, and you have to like do them, and it's like, all right, this one doesn't want lettuce. I played it for a little while, and I was like, this is fun, but I don't want to work when I get home. Like, I'll come home and I cook dinner just because, dinner's good and I love delicious food. But when it comes to like when I sit down to play a game, the last thing I want to do is anything that resembles work. I already wake up in cold sweats some nights, which is like shot up from the sound of a ticket printer going off because I think I'm at work. And I'm like, no, it was a dream. Go back to sleep.
Yes, absolutely. That's awesome, man. You do a great job there, and the team does a great job there.
We try.
And we came to you on a pretty busy time too for tour season. So I mean, like,
yeah, you guys were in the ground. Like you came in and like I saw you when you came to the front. I recognized. I was like, is that no, for someone who likes gnomes, he's way too tall. And then I gave it a second. I'm like, no, that is him. Wow, he's a giant. And I mean, I'm already a tall person myself. And when I was like, wow, he is way taller than I expected. And then I realized, and I looked around, I saw you guys finally coming in. I'm like, wow, they had a really long wait time to get a table too. Goodness. So I'm glad that it was worth the wait.
Oh, absolutely. Definitely worth the wait.
What did you get? I forget. Did you get the pancake or corn cake? I know someone got the Monte Cristo at the table.
Yes, and they loved it. And I was debating between that, but I was like, I want a pancake. And so I think one of our members got the corn cake, but I know I got the pancake. Mm-hmm. It was so good.
It's good stuff.
Oh, it is. And I had a pancake earlier this week. It was a pumpkin pancake.
Mm. Now, did they mix pumpkin batter into the cake so it's all smeared through, or do they do little like dabs of pumpkin into the pancake?
I think it was all through, and then they give you a pumpkin butter to go on top of it.
Okay.
And maple syrup. So it was good.
We did one recently where we would use pumpkin pie filling, and we do a few little dabs in the pancake, pecans in the pancake, and then when it comes out, we get marshmallow fluff that we put on, and we use a little torch and just kind of like toast it up a little bit.
Ooh, I'm hungry now.
Sorry. That's one of our fall specials that we do around here. We try to get a little pumpkin in right now because we know come like late round and after things. You know, oddly enough, though, I would say that people are like, oh, they're over pumpkin and turkey and everything after Thanksgiving. But no, the amount of turkey and pumpkin we still sell stuff after. I'm like, there was a whole day for this. You guys should have your fill. I should not sell a turkey dinner for like a week after Thanksgiving. But no, they just can't get enough of it.
Yeah. I mean, who doesn't love, like, I've got K-Cups that are pumpkin spice and they're so good. And then I've also got a decaf coffee. There's no pumpkin spice in this one, but it's decaf coffee.
If I work the next day, my caffeine cutoff is 10 o'clock, 11 at the absolute latest, because I was like, I have to be in bed, I have to be awake, and I need sleep. And it's just, there's a few times I've tried to push the limit, and then I'm just laying there like, I should have stopped. I should have listened to myself.
I think I was that way Monday night because I think I did have some extra caffeine that day because then I could not sleep. Mm. But that also was because I think this week I did 3 big system migrations at work.
Mm. I was going to say, we've been chattering about what I've done up to recently. What have you been up to recently?
On Tuesday, we migrated our retail store from a on-site, on-premise system to the same vendor, but to a cloud-based. And that's been a headache. We've been working on it since April or May. And we've been working with different people, and we just went live on Tuesday, and we're finding different things that we're still working on. And I keep checking, like, we've processed sales since then, and things have not been burning and crashing. So I think we're good. It still is very scary doing that.
Oh, is this your POS you've migrated?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm liking the new software, but I don't use it on a daily basis. I'm the IT, but we have a great staff there who they run that place the same way that you talk about with your crew. Like, we have a great staff there, and it was training them this week. Today at a different business, another location, we migrated the fax line and also the internet system. Oh, and the phone line. So yeah, 3 big system migrations, and been on hold all day with different people, talking with different people. We think we got it halfway there. I didn't get done with work till about 7:16 p.m. and we recorded this at 7:30.
Yeah, I can understand that. We, at some point this year, went from a on-site POS to a cloud-based, server-based POS. It was a headache for like the first 2 weeks, but it's a lot nicer now because I can check on numbers now. I can check hours of people. I can do a lot of different things that I would have had to have stayed late at work to do. I can come home and sit here and WoW on one screen and POS on the other.
Oh, that's nice because I mean, and I agree with you. Like, I think within 2 weeks we'll be glad that we did, because the old one was Mac only, so we had to make sure we had Macs. Now we can have anything, and with the new one, I don't have to get those calls of the server crashed or the software on the server crashed, because now if it breaks, it's their fault.
Nice.
But then I took some time this week to kind of play games, and I'm going to cover a couple things in WoW. So I was on Classic. I met a Taran named Bully Maze in Classic.
Nice. As one does in Classic.
Yes. Well, I was on this episode. I was like, I turned to him and said, "Hey, do you have any clean supplies for my daggers?" Because I was on my rogue. Mm-hmm. It's an RP roam. And they opened up trade, gave me sharpening stones.
Nice.
So I was in shock and just laughing hysterically that I forgot to tip him. So later on, I ran Shadowfang Keep with him. I mean, that's the thing about Classic. You run into people that you meet in the real world.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay, here's a tip for those sharpening stones. Like, because I didn't want to just get them for free, but it was like, they knew what they were doing. And if you're out there bully maze on Bless the Buccaneers, you made my night. I hope you know that.
Nice.
And then with the news we'll talk about in a little bit, there's 2 allied races coming out. So I got the reps I got to work on. I'm working on Rustbolt and Voldenai reps. So I got the Mecha Spider.
Nice.
And that's one that I could have gotten sooner, but I've been like focused on alts and different things. So it's, I've got ADHD, so my mind's all over the place.
You're like, I could do that, but I could also be doing this over here. But if I'm not doing that, why am I not just doing this over here? Oh, did I forget? I forgot about that other thing. I should really do that. Let me write that down. I have pieces of paper all on the desk that just little notes written down that if anyone came in, they're like, none of this makes sense. It's like, yeah, it does. This is this. This is that. It doesn't need to make sense to you. It's my desk.
Yeah, absolutely. Stream knows me very well that they know I will start off in one direction and all of a sudden be like, oh, I want to go here. No, I want to go. They know that I am so double, triple, quadruple minded that I'll change what I'm doing halfway through a stream. I'm like, and last night I had to go visit one of the new races that's inside of PTR, and I log into the starting zone for the area. I met a Frazzle M.
Nice. Is that like a person with that name, or was that a?
No, it was a person with that name. Now, it could just be random name generator because Frazley is actually from the WoW Gnome name generator. So it could just be that the game did it. There's a part of me that my ego wants to say that there's a fan out there who knows my love for mecha gnomes and was making a Frazzle M on the mecha god.
We'll just go with that. That's what it was. It's Frazley's #1 fan who just got in and wanted to make sure, is he going to love this? I'm going to make sure the name is good. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. It's a wonderful thing to find out that Frazley and Habant were created the same way. Frazley is a random name generator. Habant is not a WoW generator, but I played Final Fantasy XI before, and it was an Elven, and I was just sitting there like, random, next. Yeah, sure, that one. And it's just has stuck. And I've loved it because if you look up Habant in the armory, they're all me.
Nice.
Well, now there might be some Draven troll that makes one somewhere else, but I know which ones are me. And up until now, I'm the only Habant in all of WoW.
Nice. I'm definitely not the only Frazley in WoW, but there is a blue-haired gnome though in BFA that takes selfies, and I think it'd be kind of cool if there was like some WoW dev that I made better by like all my selfies, and I'm just again my ego wants to speak up that I'm more important than I am.
It's the Easter egg homage that this is you, but I can't quite give you the credit, but you know it's you.
Yeah. I mean, because Wolford Fizzbrack, he's over in Tear Sound. He's so excited about selfies, and I'm like, that's too close to me. But it's interesting that you bring up Final Fantasy XI, because I was just about to ask you, how did you get into gaming? So
it was long before Final Fantasy XI. First console was a Nintendo, OG NES.
Nice.
Other than the Wii U, I've owned every Nintendo console that's been around. The OG Xbox and a 360, PS2, PS3. I've PC Master Race. I've been gaming blood since like kindergarten. One of the earliest memories I can have of gaming is playing. I think it was Mega Man X on the Super Nintendo, and I was playing before school because back then you're up at the crack of dawn. It doesn't matter. You're just like, I'm up.
Yeah.
And my bus had to go down my street, hit the cul-de-sac, and come back, and it would pick me up either if I was out there before it went down to the end or when it came back. So I was playing, and I was like, okay, cool, and then I was like getting to the boss fight, and I'm like, okay, cool, I'm doing this, and the bus went by, and my grandma's like, stop, and I'm like, but I'm right here, hold on, and like I'm trying to beat this boss so fast, and she's like, but you're gonna miss the bus. I'm like, no, it's down, it's fine, it's right down the way, we're good. I'm playing, I beat the boss, and I'm like jotting down like, what is it, the like 12 number code that's in the end so I don't lose my place when I come back. I'm like, I just gotta get the code. Grandma's like, get out. I'm like running out there to try to catch the bus. I was like, whatever, it's fine. I'm not gonna miss the bus. And so that's honestly one of the earliest memories I have of video games. But yeah, it's an OG long trailed record. Then it goes into obviously the 64. and the obsession with Ocarina of Time, which I'm sure every child who grew up in that time with the 64 had.
Oh yeah, like
Like-
the music. I never beat Ocarina of Time, but I have that music in my head.
Oh yeah, and I don't care what Barf says. Bartholomew CTR. Anyone listening probably knows him. I don't care what he says. The water temple is garbage. It's terrible. He can take it somewhere else. Him and the water temple can have their love affair. It was terrible. The first time I did that, I was so angry because it was just like, how am I supposed to beat this? I can't figure. And it was just raise a water level. I was just when I finally figured it out, I'm like, I'm an idiot and I hate this.
Absolutely. Like, I did not know mechanics of games, and I pretty much fumbled my way through games when I was a kid. Like, I can't believe I actually played as many games as I did because I was never good at them.
But there was that. Then after 64, we went on to. At the same time, when I was still living, my mom and I were staying with my grandma. My buddy down the way, his older brother had a PlayStation, so we would play things like Star Ocean, the different Final Fantasies, and we would take turns. Like, it's just a single player game, but we would take turns being the one who would control. We would make joint decisions on it. It was my first introduction to like big boy RPGs there, and then various GameCube after that. Which GameCube, the main thing was obviously Wind Waker and Soul Calibur. You had to get Soul Calibur for the GameCube because you got Link, and Link was my man. There was the time at that point when my job, I worked at the local movie theater, and there were two of us that we had the GameCube in the break room, and it became a rule that we were not allowed to play each other because we knew each other so well. The matches would just take forever, and we would eat up the entirety of breaks sometimes. And it was just like, no, you two are never allowed to play each other. And if you do play each other, these characters for you and these characters for you are off limits. They're banned. You cannot use them because they're your best characters.
Oh, that's awesome.
And we would just know each other so well even on the other character. You would see like the move signaling, and you know what's coming, and we're just like, nope, gotcha. And they were just such long matches. Yeah, between Zelda, Final Fantasy, and then getting into the Blizzard franchise. I know at one point when I finally got a computer, I think I somewhere picked up an old 3.5 and it had like Warcraft 1, but I think it was like a demo. It wasn't even like the full game. It was just a demo, and I kind of played it, and I was like, okay, cool. And then eventually my stepdad got me Diablo, like OG original Diablo, and I just fell in love with that game. Diablo was amazing and so dark, and I loved it. We finally brought home that old computer. They just had them stored, and we were breaking them down, tearing hard drives and everything. I'm like, let me just boot this up. And I was like, oh, it's this one. Oh, Diablo's still on here. Oh, I still have a save? And I open it up, and Tristram's just littered with piles of gold, and I'm just like, oh, this brings back memories. All right, time to break this apart. But then I got into Warcraft 3 because Warcraft 3 was what it was. And I didn't start playing WoW. I dabbled WoW in BC a little bit because I was a Final Fantasy guy. And it was funny, coming from Final Fantasy, which is a straight grind. There's little quests. You get a group, you go stand in a corner, you pull mobs, and you grind. Coming into WoW, like, that's what I did at first. And then at one point, Cara's watching me. She's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm just killing mobs. This is what you're supposed to do. She's like, why don't you just pick up some quests? I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, what are quests?
This is what you're supposed to do. You kill mobs, you get experience. What quests? What is this? But we both kind of, I think she played a little in Classic, but we both a little bit in BC. We stopped and everything. And then once Wrath came around, we both were just all in and have been all in since Wrath.
That's awesome. So the Lich King kept you in his clutches.
He did. He drew me back in. He drew us both back in because I was like, this is such an iconic character. We have to come back for this. And then we came back. We came back a little later than launch. We didn't come in at launch. We were a little behind the times. My first real taste of raiding was Old War, and I had no idea what I was doing. The first time I felt competent knowing what I was doing was Ice Crown. And as you went to harken back to what you were saying about in Classic, you know people, you run into people, you think I got tired at one point of LFM looking for one more heroic train, need a tank. And I was like, I got tired of that, looking for a tank and just sitting there in Dalaran looking for tanks. So I just was like, I'm a paladin. I'm going to roll tank so we can just find a DPS and get this going. And it's just been a love affair with Prop Paladin ever since. There was a point in time during the 10-25 ICC days where we would run as our guild that we ran 10-man, but I would pug 25. And like I got pulled into a 25-man raid on our server to tank it. And one of the guys was like, oh, is this guy even any good? Do we know what's going on? And another guy's like, yeah, I raided with this guy last week. He's great. We're good. We're fine. He's fine. I'm like, sweet.
Nice.
That whole like server recognition that because you had to like call for group as all and it's like that. You don't have that anymore. But at the same time, I like being able to just like click, I'm good. I'm done. I found a group.
Yeah.
No more sitting in trade chat trying to put it together. I can just push this button and keep flying around picking herbs and mining ore. And eventually Blizzard's like, here's your group. I'm like, cool, thanks. Appreciate you.
Which is one nice feature. I mean, like, you don't run into the thing where like you talk with like a bully mage and then end up running a dungeon with them. But then you also don't have, as you said, you can do other stuff while you're waiting for group.
You don't have to have two people waiting at a stone. You don't have to have one person back in trade chat trying to find the group. The convenience is nice, but the loss of some server recognition is a little lost there, but it's not terrible.
Yeah. So you've mentioned raiding.
Yes.
So what would you say your play style is?
It's a little all over the place. I try not to get too obsessed with my games too much anymore, but then there are certain ones that come out and they just happen. I get so involved in them. But with WoW, it's a very casual play. I mean, we raid, like I said, on a very family-friendly, usually normals, if we can clear normal, which we always clear, but if we have time, we'll start pushing. It's very just laid back, very chill. A good number of the people are the OG, like, hardcores, because we used to push some harder stuff back in Wrath, and then Ice Crown, and then into Cara when we were running our guild. But again, a lot of people just don't have time for that. Real life, I think our youngest member is 27, 28. And like our oldest member is 50 something. The age range is not like when we were leading our guild at like 2022 age frame, and like we had 14-year-olds and like 25-year-olds, that time you have time to just do 2-3 nights a week and really try to push some crazy stuff. But it's very laid back. I mean, my usual playtime in WoW, because of the getting back on the gold grind, is I'll log in, I put YouTube or Netflix or Twitch on one monitor and just fly in my circle, picking ore, picking herbs, running certain old dungeons over and over for items to put on the auction house, just trying to get back in the gold grind. That's what it is. And if I'm not doing that, every now and then, like I said, there's a game that comes along that just eats my soul. I'm just like, I have to be like Stardew Valley. I bought that game twice because I got obsessed with it on PC, and when it came to the Switch, I was like, you mean I could just like lay in bed and do this? Done. I'm in. Let's do this. There was a silly game, I think it's actually on PC, and the second one, Cat Quest.
Yes, I just got that on Apple Arcade. I've not played it yet, but
oh my god, Cara will attest to it. There was like, it's not a very long game, but it was enjoyable. I was bored. I was on the Switch eShop, and I'm like, that's cheap. Sure, why not? And I felt it was, oh my god, just the puns. The puns. I'm just like, you'll love it. I was like, wow. Now that I'm thinking about it, Frazley is going to love this game. And when Nintendo did like one of their indie directs, Cat Quest 2 popped up, and I had like no idea this was coming. The sound that emanated out of me, no grown man should ever make. But I was just like so excited for this game. I'm like, yes, there's another one. I'm so excited. And I'm sure Pokemon will just destroy anything outside of WoW when it comes out for a long time. And then I'm going to have to figure out how to juggle Pokemon and Animal Crossing once Animal Crossing comes out. I've been an Animal Crossing fan since GameCube, the OG original one. Like, I love it. That's why when I saw Pocket Camp come out, I'm like, Cara, you have to try this. And she was like, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to. I'm like, no, you have to try this one.
Yeah.
Then she just went with it. I'm like, well, I created a monster, but it's fine. It's cool. She found something she likes.
Absolutely. Nintendo has done an amazing job with that.
Mm-hmm. But there's every so often, there's just that one game that comes out and just eats my soul. There was, what was it? Even No Man's Sky. Not when it first came out,
Yeah.
But they had like their big patch relaunch that like revamped everything, and everyone, like, I saw a bunch of good reviews coming back out for it. I'm like, and I caught it on sale for like 50% off. I'm like, sure. And I call that game my mental therapy. Like, if I'm just in a bad spot, I just need to like zone, just walk around a planet, explore the stars. I just jump into that game. That's a good one too. There's some, I joke because I look at my Steam library, I look at my Twitch games now because of all Twitch Prime and everything they give me. I have the Epic launcher in, and they give me a free game like every 2 weeks now, and I'm just like, I just have like all these games. I really should not be spending any money on games right now, but there's still just so many other good ones coming out that I'm like, I have to play these when they come out. I just need to create like a Twitch stream or a YouTube channel that is stuff Ian needs to play before Cara will let him buy another game.
Yeah, and I think people will love that because you have a fun personality, and I think that would come along great on the stream.
I've been told I should do a lot of things. Even some people are like, you should just start a cooking channel. And I'm like, yeah. It would be great. But then I bring work home, and it's just, then I make my fun work. I mean, I just got to find a way to, in my head, not look at it as work and just another fun hobby thing that I'm just doing. I haven't been able to make that mental jump yet, but when I get there, we'll get there. It'll be fine.
Well, and we need good cooks. I was just watching a bunch of videos from How to Cook That, and they were talking about these like So Yummy commercials and Blossom, and about how dangerous some of the cooking hacks were. And like one was you pour caramel on that rotator blender thing, and they said, here is a plastic tarp, and look at how that caramel is going through that plastic tarp. I said, you don't want that on your face. And so
it's napalm. Caramel is literally just sugar and milk. Any person who's ever gotten, like, if you've dripped wax on you, that's nothing. Yeah. That's nothing compared to what like hot simple syrup or caramel or even like some thick fresh grits. Like, they're just napalm. Like, you can wipe and it's just not, it's not coming off. You're just enjoy the burn. It's gonna happen.
So see, we need good advice. We need you to respond to these hacks and be like, no, you don't do this. Come on, don't do that. Yeah. Don't
do that. Like, I love it when I take my new guys over to our slicer. It's got 2 rules behind it. Rule 1, and I'll clean it up because we're on a podcast. Rule 1 is don't cut yourself. Like, just don't cut yourself. This is rule 1. This thing is dangerous. It will hurt you, and it can do a lot of damage quick if you don't pay attention. Don't cut yourself. And then rule 2 is, if you use it, clean it. Don't leave it for someone else. Don't leave it dirty. If you use this, common sense, clean it. Break it down. It's funny how often you have to explain step 2 to people. It's like, don't leave. You just sliced cheese. Look how dirty it is. Clean it. Stop.
Yeah. How much do you enjoy having to clean up size for somebody else? And it's like, it should be the golden rule. Leave this appliance the way that you want it to be left to you.
Leave this space. If you came in here, you prepped, you did anything over here, clean it up and make it look like it did. Easier said than done for some people.
Yeah.
Because I also have like my racks where all my spices are. I make them nice and neat. Things are labeled and things are put in ways. So when I go to do my order, I can easily quick and look. But every time I go over there, I have to reorganize everything because people just grab and I'm like, there's labels. It says it right out.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, I think we need to go back to your chill space, like Stardew Valley. It's interesting that you mentioned Stardew Valley, and there's a bus that takes you to Stardew Valley. Winchester and Geyer in chat want to know, did you make the bus?
Winchester and Gearwolf, I love you guys. Yes, I did make the bus. I was able to beat the boss. I did write down the code, and I made it out in time to catch the bus. It was a very photo finish making it out there, but I did end up making the bus and not making Grandma upset for having to then drive me to school that morning.
So like dun 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 dun.
Oh yeah. Grandma had 2 entrances to the driveway, and it had started to pull past the one, so I had to like run to the other one. It was literally like nope, we've passed point A. We got to get to point B. Don't stop. I'm right here. See me? Slow down. Stop. It was a photo finish, but I did end up making the bus that day.
Nice. Well, it's becoming a thing where when I have guests on and then I have their partners on later on, I have to ask one of the partners how they met. So it started with Brandon, because Allie's husband, I had Allie on, and then I had Brandon on episode 115. And then again, I had Cara on 91. So now it's time for me to ask you the same question. How did Cara and you meet? And give me all the juicy details.
Well, I have not been approved to give all of the juicy details, but I will give a good enough analysis. For anyone, Cara and I have been together for, how old am I? 30? So probably 13 years now, because we got together just before my 21st birthday. We both had a mutual friend that they were dating at the time, and those friends decided they wanted to play matchmaker. They're like, "Oh, you should meet my friend. She's great." And she was like, her friend was like, "Yo, I know this guy. He's great. You guys would be perfect for each other." And we're like, "Yeah, okay, whatever." And then I'm gonna date how old I am now, but not that I didn't just then. But so then we started chatting through MySpace.
Wow! Yes. There are people listening to this who have never heard of.
People are like, MySpace, what's that? Or isn't that music website? No, yes, we started chatting, and then we eventually met up at one of said mutual friends' parties, and there was a party going on, a mutual friend. We hung out that evening, really enjoyed each other's company. We're like, okay, we'll see what happens from here. And here we are 13 years later, officially tied the knot, I think, coming on 3 years ago now.
Nice.
It's so hard to actually remember how long it's been, because there's two numbers. There's the number of we've been together for 13 years, but it's only been that official married for 3, 4, something like that. I don't know. It's not that important.
Yeah, because it's more that love and that commitment.
Mm-hmm. It's been there the whole time. I did ask her parents' permission to marry her like 3 or 4 years into the relationship, and then took another like 6 years to actually get there. I always felt like I can't put the cart before the horse, and then eventually I'm like, why are we just waiting for this? Let's just get this done. That led to another fun story, because then later on, that year after we got married, I was doing my taxes, doing our taxes, and I'm sitting here, I'm looking at my return, and I'm like, what is different about this year? I'm getting so much more back than I had been getting. Like, what is going on? And then Kara's like, we got married this year. I'm like, oh yeah, why didn't we do this sooner? And as soon as those words escaped my mouth, I was like reaching for them to try to catch them. Like, no, why did I say? Because the glare I was getting at that point, I was like, I didn't just say that. We're just going to pretend that didn't happen. Maybe she'll not notice. Oh, no, she noticed. It was good times. But there's the abridged version. Mutual friends, played matchmaker, and the rest was history.
Nice. And wow, yeah, 13 years is a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think it's been about 13 years that Tire Mall's been around. Did you see that?
I see that transition. That was nice. That was a good transition.
I don't want you to get in trouble with Cara. So I figured
No.
You shared enough. So I was like, so Dire Mall, we are finding out that Dire Mall is launching the week that this comes out.
Nice. I knew it was coming. I didn't realize I wasn't paying attention exactly, because Classic, no offense to Classic, I dabbled in it for like 2 weeks, and I'm like, not my thing. I'll go back to retail. There's too much variety, especially because I'm one of those people like, I like playing a paladin. Like, that's what I am. But I don't like healing, which means me and Classic are not going to get along. I tried to play red, and I'm just like, auto attack, yay, seal, judge, seal, yay, auto attack. Nope, I'm done. I'm out. I'm done. I think I got to like level 15, and I was just like, no, I'm over it. I'm out. This has been enough. I got to see the talent trees. That's all I always wanted, to get to the point where I could have that nostalgia talent tree because of the whole BC and Wrath. But I was like, this has made me appreciate retail so much more. I'm done. I'm out. I've seen where we came from. I know where I'm at, and I appreciate where I'm at way more. But Dire Mall, I will admit, is one of when they split it up, made me sad, because I was like, man, I loved being able to go just into one and just run the whole thing. It was great.
Yeah, and Dire Mall was one I ran so many times on different alts. Mm-hmm. And when I came back for Cataclysm for a little bit, I was actually surprised at how neutered Dire Maul was, because like I expected like, okay, I queued up for this dungeon and I was like, okay, this is going to take so long. And I prepared by evening to be like, okay, I'm going to do Dire Maul and I'll log off. Well, then all of a sudden I'm like, we're done? But where's the waiting for mom? Because at one point I was like, I even asked our group, I said, aren't we waiting for the next thing? And like, no, you can just go on. Like, what?
That's it?
Yeah.
There's no more? You mean we don't take the hallway and go over to the next place and then follow another thing to get into it's just one now?
Yeah.
All right. Wow.
So it's definitely, and to me, I think it's still is one of my favorite instances, because it just, so many memories of it, so many memories of dying in it. I mean, just so many things happened in Dire Maul that I'm excited to relive it again. And again, I'm going to clear my schedule when I do it, and I'm just going to
get the ogre suit and do a tribute run.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I do remember doing those back when I think we were running them in Wrath. Like we were, so we were high enough level that it didn't matter. But if you still didn't do it right, you were like, well, I guess we have to go out and reset now. Hopefully we have enough stuff to do this again. So yeah, tribute runs will be fun to see how well those roll out and people doing them.
It's interesting you mention that, because that's like the original Mythic Plus in a way, because you had to do it right to get to all the good loot.
Mm-hmm.
But then, in the same time that the other Ian, so not you, but on the other Ian, on Monday had a developer dump. I mean, it's like a whole like video out of nowhere. I mean, like we had an idea it could happen, and in fact, it was funny. I just finished editing the episode where JR was talking about it'd be so cool if they did another video like they've done, and all of a sudden Monday, the same day that 127 comes out, like. Wow! Did they listen to the recording? No, they had this in plan for a while. But
it was funny as the date, because we said it just came out of nowhere earlier. I was like, what are we even going to talk about? Because I mean, there's only but so much even like BlizzCon speculation that's happening right now, and then that happened, and I'm like, sweet, there it is.
And there's so much in this. So patch 8.3, Visions of N'Zoth is coming out. There's so many cool things. So. I want to get to the first bit of cool news.
Which one do you consider first? I would have thought that the the little additions that are coming would be your most anticipated and excited one, but I could be wrong. What are you most excited for?
The one I'm actually most excited for, and I have to thank a great friend, Leo Wild. I'm excited for the Vulpera, because I have been seeing Leo Wild champion for it. In fact, when people ask me about Mechanomes, like, I want Mechanomes, but I want Vulpera in there. So I get the best of both worlds.
You get them both. I was watching that, and as soon as they're like Vulpera, I'm like, that's kind of cool. And the Mechanomes came up, and I'm like, and Frazley just made a noise. There it is.
Yes.
Maybe not quite my Cat Quest 2 like no grown man noise should be made this sound, but he definitely just made some sort of like squeaky excited noise right there.
Yep. I was so excited to see this, because like, what's one of my Mechanomes is I kept predicting it, saying something about Mechanomes or gnomes. I had this whole thing coming up to the last BlizzCon. I kept saying Mechanome something, because I was the one who saw near the same place with the selfie camera was the vault, and I was like, something big is happening.
The vault, that one little section over there that had all these like unique and different assets that you're not gonna, as a company like Blizzard, you're not gonna create all of this unique and awesome just for this 3 quest area in a zone. There's something else going on. And like you said, there's this vault it was locked at the time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And you're like, big locked vault, bunch of unique assets. There's got to be something more here, but they haven't told us yet.
I even did a Fraz report going up to that, like that they were going to announce that. I had a whole joke where like they were going to announce gnomes in the keynote, and it was still funny to find out Mechanomes, because I was on a call with Madros and Ali, and I don't remember one other person. It might have been Rooster or Bullet Catcher, but literally they had to actually take off their headphones because I was going Mechanomes. I was just like so excited, and like they had to everybody turn me down for like 5 minutes.
And Frazley, I love you, but you're muted until you calm down.
Yeah. I wish I'd been recording that moment, because I was just like so hyper of it. I was like, so I'm still calling for the 9.0 rise of Gnomergon. I'm kind of hoping there. I mean, I could see maybe now that we got Mechanomes, maybe they have a radiation suit. And they were like, what if we take back Gnomergon? Because I still believe there's some weapon inside a Gnomergon that's going to take down N'Zoth or something. Just something that we need in Gnomergon.
Possible. I could see it. Maybe more like a 9.1 or 9.2.
Yeah.
I don't think, maybe not right out the gate, but I could see taking back. Especially now that we have the Mechagon and Mechagnome allies. And yeah, I'm in.
Because I want to see what the storyline is of the Mechagnomes. I'm almost guessing that maybe I know this might be spoilers, but it's 8.2's been out for a while. Did we kill King Mechagon?
I literally just ran that for the first time on Sunday, and I'm not exactly sure myself.
Okay.
I think so, because you're fighting him down, and then phase 2 he goes into the big suit, and then you make the big suit explode, and then he comes back down, and then you finish him. I think you kill him, but I don't know. No idea. Because you definitely depose him, because his son comes in and takes over. Whether or not he's now a Mechagnome deposed king locked in some gear fortress, like, nope, you just stay right there. Or if we actually just took him out. I'm not exactly sure.
And Kira's asking if Mechagnomes are immune to the crud. Where I'm thinking is, like, I've been playing Satisfactory with Spaz, and we get gas masks because there's poison on the planet. I'm thinking that Mechagnomes can create some immunity to the radiation. That because of how gnomish they are, they could just create a gas bubble. They have enough stuff. I mean, you look at the ratios and the classes for both of the Vulpera and the Mechagnomes. There's some really cool ratios and classes.
I did not check out the ratios. What are the ratios?
So for the Vulpera, bag of tricks. So they will pull something from a bag and use it on the target enemy or ally. It's a 1.5 minute cooldown.
All right.
But they can also make camps. Make camp at this location can only be used outdoors. But then you can return to camp. So you have a secondary Hearthstone, which is really cool.
Secondary Hearthstone that you can just literally set to one random spot. So if you have a great farm location you like to, but you don't want to have to like go to the nearest flight point, you can just be like, nope, right here. I like farming this dungeon, so I'm going to set this camp right outside the dungeon.
I'm like, that's brilliant, especially with how much of a nomadic culture the Vulpera is. It's cool that they have that. I mean, and I think that makes sense. And like, there's a few other ones, but like one that's cool is Vulpera Survival Kit. You have a chance to find an additional satchel of goods when you kill a humanoid. So, Leo, I was saying that actually the Vulpera bag space is going to be lower because your bag's going to be full of all these different kits. I'm like, yes. And then Mechagnome is you get combat analysis. So you gather and analyze combat data, increasing your primary step by 50 at level 120, second to 8 times. And it decays while out of combat. You get the ability to summon a hyper-organic light originator, so kind of a decoy. You get a skeleton pinky, allowing you to open up locked chests and doors that require a skill level of up to 600. So that's actually pretty cool.
So just a Mechagnome. You don't even need a rogue or a blacksmith or a scribe. Just be a Mechagnome and like, I'm done. It's cool.
Yeah.
That's neat.
Mastercraft, you function as a personal blacksmithing anvil, cooking fire, and mining forge. In addition, your limbs include every professional tool. So actually, they're going to gain bag space, no mining pick, no skinning knife, all that stuff.
And wait, so if they're a person, does that mean anyone who's standing next to a Mechagnome can use them as an anvil? Like, you just kind of like walk up to some random Mechagnome and just start like making weapons and be like, yo, bro, just don't move for a second. I don't feel like walking around at the back.
Oh!
Or does it only work for you?
It sounds like it's a personal that only works for you. That would be so cool.
How cool or messed up would it be to just like walk up to some random Mechagnome and be like, don't move for like 30 seconds. You just start banging a sword out on their head.
Yeah, come on. I mean, they're the right height for anvils. So, I mean, it makes sense.
It'd be so messed up.
Yes.
Only tall people would think of that joke and just be like, this is funny. And then you're like, it's messed up, though.
Oh, there are times I use friends that I know very well as armrests, but only for a little bit, and many know that I'm only kidding.
Or I just walk up to Cara, get right up here, because her head comes up just up the chin. I'm like, where'd you go? I don't. or walk into the room. She's like, can you get that? And I just like reach up and I touch it, and I'm like, this? No, I can't get this. It's too high. I can't reach it. Sorry. Maybe you can attest to this. My mom is 5'2". She's a short lady. And as any tall person who's been around short people knows, they have a distinct tone in their voice. When they're calling you in from another room, and you already know they're going to be standing there pointing up something really high. Like,
Yes.
you already know you're being called in to get something off of the top shelf because there's just this distinct tone because there's a slight anger because they're just like, they can't get it themselves. And they're just like, you're like, you already know. You already know. You're just like, yeah, all right, here you go. Have fun. Can I go back to what I was doing now? Thanks.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I mean, I was in the middle of something very important and you need me to get that you could have texted me or something like that.
Usually something. Anyway, now that this train is, let's get it back to the track. The allied races do look great. I don't know. I have a lot of grinding to do because I haven't really played my horde characters a lot. I have a 120 on some server on horde side just because I wanted to see it, but I really just haven't. It's like if I'm on, I want to be like, because of my gold grind and my fields, like I need to be on something that's really affecting my main, and anything my horde side does, it's just not going to do that.
I have to say that these racials really stack up to something really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And something else that stacks up is they are finally getting us the auction house revamp. So they took away our mobile auction house.
That was mildly upsetting because I would at work like repost auctions, and it was like, all right, go through and just do all this for like a minute here, sip some coffee, all right, do stuff. But once that went away, I was like, oh man, that was so handy. But as someone I use TSM. I love my gold making. I love that. And just seeing I'm curious how it works, and the fact that they're getting rid of some of the stack stuff. Like there's no stacks anymore. Like you just post what you want, and if someone comes along and goes, I want 20 of that, they sell 20 of it. I'm curious as to see how the WoW community takes it. Like, are there going to be the few people who are like, look, we can all just post all of our stuff at this price. We may not all sell everything fast, but we'll all sell at this price? Or is it going to be a race to the bottom like it's kind of is at the moment, even with stacks and whatnot? Or if you come along and put up 20 for 10 gold, I come up along and put 20 up for 10 gold, eventually we'll both sell for 10 gold. And I'm also curious as to how it's going to decide whose items get sold first. Is it like a first come, like if you posted yours first, do they go? Or is like they want 100, are they going to take your 20 and like 80 of mine? Or are they just going to take all my? Like, I'm interested to see how it ends up playing out. I think it will be a good and fun thing. It looked nice compared to what it is without add-ons right now.
Yeah.
Doing anything on the auction house without any kind of add-on, if that's how you roll, you're a saint. Go you, because I need some sort of either like auctioneer or auctionator basic. And at this point, TSM for some of the real heavy stuff that I'm doing lately. Because it's just, I can't do it.
I use Auctioneer on current/retail because at least it's something like Auctioneer and TSM are amazing, but I need to learn them. But one thing that came out when you put up a stack, you just say how much you want to buy, and then if you only buy a portion of a stack, it will then refund the seller with the unbought portion, but it'll pay them for what's there. So if there are even single stacks, it won't hurt anything. So like I'm thinking that like if someone posts up 1 and the other person posts up 20, there is a post a little bit later where they were talking about the order of buying. And WoW had said that the most recent listing gets sold first.
The most recent?
Yeah. Which is an interesting concept.
Doesn't seem fair though, you know what I'm saying? Like, no. It should be like the oldest should go first because they got theirs on there. Especially if it's the same price. That's just going to make for all the goblins out there, there's going to be so many auction cancels, like cancel auction reposts going on just so you're always the newest one on the auction house. Like, exactly, Gear. FIFO, first in, first out.
Yeah.
You would think that's how it would work.
Teleroyd is saying it's probably to make it less attractive to undercut, and I could see that.
That's fair. If you would come along and undercut me by the copper, you would now be the lowest, but if you know you come on and post at the same price, you're not racing to the bottom because you know it's the newest person.
I could see someone buying older to then sell again. So maybe it's to keep things running. So somebody's going to get paid no matter what, that you're always going to be cycling stuff through. Because I could see somebody being like, okay, you're selling stuff. I need something to sell. Somehow just flipping it. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting change. And they did say it's going to be faster. So I could also see, my hope is, Because one thing about auction house add-ons is I don't run TSM, and they had a cool feature where if you did the premium, you could update your database outside of it. Whenever I go to Auctionator, I have to wait for about like
You
10,
got to do the
15
auction scan.
Yeah. And I'm hoping that this will even make those faster.
I've never had TSM Premium to worry about updating mine. I have the desktop helper that does the scan for me, so my prices are usually up to date. I think the Premium lets you see a bunch of like, it'll post like, what's a good deal, what's this, oh wow, you should, like, stuff you can go to Undermine Journal and find if you really wanted. Great resource for anyone trying to play the auction house.
Oh, absolutely. And it's fun to see like some of the interesting ideas out there, because all this stuff, it's nice to earn gold. And do you know who's going to be wearing golds very shortly? Well, they're not short. They're kind of hairy though.
I was about to say there's a short one, but I didn't think there was a lot of gold on theirs. But the other one, the tall wolf boys and girls, will be getting some gold trims and a fancy top hat.
Yes.
I don't even think I have a Worgen. Sorry, Worgen players. The top hat makes me want to roll one because the top hat is great.
I was talking with Amanda, who is a huge Worgen lover. The one thing I don't like is the shoulders. They look a little too gaudy, and Amanda was saying the same thing. But the great thing is we can turn the shoulders off. I think by turning that off, it's going to look really cool. I mean, the one thing that they're missing is like now a cane, and like we need a dance studio, but so we can do like a Fred Astaire dance. I mean, we just
there's no like shepherd's cane in there, but there's like the diamond tip cane that every auction alt has. I mean, you can get a nice little like shiny cane if you really want to walk your fancy outfit and this like. And even the diamond one, because it gets that little bling that happens every now and then off the top of it.
Oh, I got to get that now. Oh, Nider's going to look like with the coolest Worgen rogue. Oh, I got to get that.
Those aren't cheap. There's a reason auction house goblins use it on their alts as just kind of like, it was one of the older, like before you set in Stormwind on your auction house mount, like 5 feet from the auction house to show off. It was one of those more expensive things that people would use to show off their money.
Yes. Oh. Well, and it's interesting they mentioned goblins, because goblins, they're getting their armor too, and they are getting gears. So they're a little bit more rustic than the gnomes, because like the gnomes are like very regal, Nomergon. The other ones are kind of like, yeah, we're goblins. We're really cool. I mean, and this kind of set it apart. Like goblins are a little rough around the edge, but they still like to have fun. Gnomes are for Nomergon. I just beat my chest to kind of be like, they're both coming in. And this armor is going to be great for bringing in your racial pride as you go into the raid that we're getting with this. So Nyalotha, which is an interesting choice for a patch, not an expansion. But we are getting Nyalotha. It's a 12 boss raid.
Yeah.
With N'Zoth as the final boss. And I was running with Capo and Capo's group on Emerald Nightmare. And one of the bosses, we were like, oh yeah, Il'gynoth. Il'gynoth will be back. And I was like, I see that. I see why.
I'm excited. I'm always excited for new raids. I'm always excited for new patches. What interests me is the fact that we don't get, at least nothing they've told us about. Maybe they're holding some of their cards close for big BlizzCon reveals, but we don't get like an Argus. You know, we don't have a Darkshore, like I just said, an Argus or Naz'Atar. But, you know, we're not getting one of those. We're not getting a big news. And they're doing like the visions and assaults and different things on other older zones, which I mean, fair. We'll see how that plays out, but it just doesn't feel quite the same as getting a whole new, just big old god, Nyalotha, Black Empire zone to just run around and really get into. You know, I was watching a Taliesin and Evitel video where he's just like, I wanted to be able to just explore every nook and cranny of this great giant architecture, which if your raid team's cool with you, you can obviously like enjoy running around and seeing everything. But sometimes you just like, we're in here, we cleared the trash, let's go. Hey, where are you going? Get back over here. You don't need to be going over there. Like I said, maybe maybe we didn't get everything in this information dump, just enough to kind of like start the feeding frenzy a little, like a little BlizzCon, like, ooh, this will be nice, kind of like hype trains riding up. And maybe they'll just kind of like drop a big one on us at BlizzCon. It's like, oh yeah, and look at this zone you're going to, and be like, there we go. That's all I want. I just want a big zone to run around.
Because, I mean, we have seen Orgrimmar multiple times as both the city and also as an instance. So we could be seeing Nihilith as the instance. I mean, and even Dazar'alor. Dazar'alor is a city and an instance. So I'm with you. I was kind of hoping we would get to walk around Nihilith. It's interesting that I brought up Orgrimmar because these horrific visions, they are 1 to 5 player instances.
That scale, which has me excited because sometimes I do a lot of my WoW time at 5:30 to 6:30 in the morning before work when everybody else is asleep. With the mentioning of Orgrimmar, they're in Orgrimmar and Stormwind being assaulted by minions of the old god.
It kind of reminds me of the ending of Siege. Like I'm wondering, Garrosh saw the end of Siege, and it would be interesting to see if Garrosh was seeing an old god version of Stormwind.
Possibly. I mean, he was all hyped up on old god juice there, so he himself was a little crazed on the old god. So maybe he was kind of feeding into channels of the old gods. They don't speak lies. They just tell you all the possibilities, which they could all be lies or they could all be truths. You're not exactly sure. They just lay everything out there. So he may have been like, oh man, this is going to happen.
Yeah.
But at the same time, maybe.
And I love the focus on single player stuff because that's one thing about Classic that I don't like for me personally is I don't like that sometimes I can't do single player. I have to go in there and do multiplayer and I like in current WoW that I can do single player times. And it's cool that they're like, yeah, we realized that Warfronts, people didn't like this part, but people liked the Mage Tower, which I never did because I never challenged myself on the Mage Tower.
I didn't do it. By the time Mage Tower came around, it was one of the points in the expansion where I logged in for raid and I was just kind of like, eh. Everyone's like, oh, the Mage Tower, the appearances. I'm like, my transmog's already sweet enough. I don't care. I have found perfection when it comes to transmog. I don't need anything else.
Yeah.
I'm good without it.
I enjoyed the Chromie scenario. That one was fun because this sounds a lot like Chromie, where because I loved going in, I loved trying it again, getting better, getting new talents. So I'm excited to see this.
I'm excited to at least really dive into this. Again, by the end of Legion and the Chromie stuff, I only really dabbled in the Chromie. I went in a few times. I'm like, okay, I can see what we're doing here, but I never was one of the, like, I never went back. I never did it again. There's stuff I should go back and do that I just haven't.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
I get stuck in my farms. Like, I'm like, I could do that, or I could go farm up like 3 stacks of ghost iron.
Yeah, I mean, in WoW, I got to farm. I got to go back to Halffield. I never finished my farm in Halffield.
Oh man, all of my 120s have that farm filled out because you can grow ghost iron and trillium on the farm. And as long as you just like log in once a day on all of them, if all you do is take 20, 30 minutes to log in on your alts, plant ghost iron, whatever is snake root, I think is what it is, that grows the ore. And just by the end of the week, you have enough. You're making 1,000-ish gold just selling ghost iron and black and white trillium.
Oh.
Then if you have a blacksmith or a miner, you can send the ghost iron ore over, turn it into ghost iron bars, and then use those. Or you can then send those over to an alchemist to turn them into trillium bars, who then she can turn them into living steel, and then you make money. I think every living steel right now, on every peak, living steel can go anywhere between 1,500 to 900 gold, and you can do one of those a day as long as you have the mats.
Wow. Now I got to go. And wow.
Or you have an engineer and an alchemist, and you use the ghost iron to make Jared's something there's a Jared something rod that you make 30 of, and you spend, which you can only do one a day, and you do your living steel procs for 30 once a day. And as Captain's just said, you make a sky golem, and you make one of those a month, and depending on what the market is, anywhere between 50 to 100,000 gold once a month for a sky golem.
Wow. Oh, okay.
There's a lot of gold making things going on. Like, I've slowly gotten back into it, and I realized I'd slacked on some of my older reps for certain things, and I'm like, should probably go back and do those.
Now I know how Tosh Buffoni's making all his money. He doesn't have to work. He can just make all his money off the farm and sell that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah, if you have enough alts, the amount of ghost iron you can make at the end of the week, just literally just logging in, picking everything off your farm and replanting it is enough to, I mean, you're not going to make a WoW token off of it, but you'll have enough to have fun with.
Wow. So those half-elf people are rich and they don't even tell us. Oh, that's sneaky city.
Mm-hmm.
And while I'm over in Pandaria, I can revisit the new restored Valley of Eternal Blossoms.
That's right. It'll be not all Garrosh destroyed. I was always sad that when that happened, I'm like, it just looks so ugly now. I was like, but where's the beauty?
Yeah.
I mean, it used to be the best place to, before the Squirt Day in the Garrison, it was the best place to go level your battle pets because you could hit like the water striders and they always opened up with a heal so you could have your level 1 and switch it out Pokemon style. Like it was the best place to go just like power level a pet. But now that with the Squirt in the Garrison, and if it lines up during a pet battle week, you have Super Squirt that you can take us pet from 1 to 25 in like 2 battles, 3 battles. Cara is more, she's better at that than I am. But and then if you have a bunch of some pet and you level it to 25, again now, throw it on the auction house. People are willing to pay more money for a 25 than a 1 because then they don't have to do the work for it.
Yeah.
And the beauty about battle pets is they aren't stuck on your server. If you can go find another server where battle pets will sell for much larger money, you can just go sell them on a different server.
Ooh.
And then once you've made all your money just off battle pets on that server, you can just buy the token there.
You're bringing some amazing secrets. Wow.
I'm only giving you the ones that are pretty well known. I'm not giving away all the trade secrets. I want my markets to stay nice.
Spoken like a true goblin. Oh, yeah.
I mean, goblins are cute and all, and I do play Alliance, but it's always going to be all glory to the Sindorai, now and forever. Blood Elves, always. Lothamar is my man. I will always have loyalty to the Blood Elves.
You just made Valicia so happy right now because Valicia is always talking about the Blood Elves and the hair and the character customization. Oh, you just made their day.
Oh, yeah. OG Habant. If you look up Habant on the Armory, there's 3. There's the Horde one, that's the new one. There's my Draenei that I play now, and it's beautiful, basically Maraude styled Mog that he's just beautiful. I love him. And OG, who's a Blood Elf. He looks cranky. He's got his eye patch, and he's got his beautiful long ponytail. Because why? Yeah. I mean, I love the Horde. Don't get me wrong, but orcs, trolls, big cows, tiny little green creatures, walking around skeletons. I mean, I'm just like, oh, look at that dude. He is gorgeous, just like me. Done. Let's do this.
Oh, it's interesting that you mentioned Horde and the OG Habant and stuff like that. So Leo Wild's going to become a Vulpira in 8.3.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if I'll be changing Frazley to be a Mecha Gnome because I originally thought I was, but then I looked at the hair and there's no blue hair. So that's kind of took me down on that.
Oh, maybe they'll have some sort of like blue skull cap like Mecha Gnome. It won't be hair per se, but it'll be like blue here.
Okay, yes. I go for that. Because I like the art that's been created by Boz and by Shining Knight. In fact, Shining Knight's making a Mecha Gnome emote for Better Twitch TV and Frankerface C. So I'm excited for that. But Ian, will you be changing to a Mecha Gnome or Vulpira?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I haven't looked at what the classes are. I don't know if Mecha Gnomes could be Paladins. But even still, I like being the big goat person. Like he's just big, and I thought about Lightforged when they came out, just because I was like, I can still be this big just presence, but I like the OG Draenei racial better. Like I'm sure I can drop down this fire if I was solely DPS, I'd have thought about changing because it's just a DPS cooldown. But as a tank, the ability every 3 minutes to just dot myself for 20% health because of the Draenei heal that they get, done. I'd rather have my oh crap button than another little bit of damage that I can throw in there. I don't know. My Draenei's got the beautiful ponytail, and again, like you just said, there's no hair. Can't do it.
Yeah.
As Cara said, hair is important. Very important.
Absolutely. I know that the rubber chickens could be a hairy time sometimes. Then they can put Cara into hairy situations. So before you go,
Mm-hmm.
I won't say who, but someone from Rubber Chickens wanted me to ask you, how much fun is it for you when the raid team breaks Cara?
Oh, it's great. It's beautiful raiding with her because we're both in the same room. She's right over there. And the beauty of this new mic, too, is it picks up so much. So there's times she won't cue herself up because she's laughing or she's like, oh, shit, oh, crap, shit. You know, oh, I just broke the explicit. I did so well right until the end. But she'll be like, dumb, and then I just hit my push to talk button so everyone can hear it. It's a little distance because it's over there. But yeah, and then the times when she just dies, I just sit here and just hold it.
Nice.
It's like, you see what you guys did? You see what you've done? And then it's just like, Cara, happy birthday. That was the best thing recently because we had, raid night was on her birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
It was on, like, not this year, it was in July.
Oh,
but
okay.
Her birthday was on her raid night this year. It was one of those nights where it was just off. Like, we were not in a bad way, but it was just a special night for everyone. And just every time there was a little goof, it was just like, okay, happy birthday. Sorry, my bad. So now it's become one of the Rubber Chickens memes. Like, anytime someone like just slightly goofs or something, it's just like, happy birthday.
Nice.
The chickens have been around for so long. There's so many just like memes like that. And some of them are so, because you have people like me, Cara, one of our DPS, Iggy, the other tank, and Tense, who joined us back in High Mall, or no, he joined us in Hellfire. But, they've been around since Warlords. There's a few of us that are just OGs and been around. So there's some deep cut like stuff that just only a few of the older members get. But because it's been around, because me and Cara joined in High Mall. But I know they were a Friends and Family Guild even at the end of Pandaria. So Rubber Chickens is one of the oldest OG teams in CTR. And there's just so many memes and like jokes and insides that just span everything. I guarantee most members of CTR have probably at one point spent a good little bit of time or known someone who's been on the chickens just because they've been around forever. Shout out to Hydro Volunteer Fire Department. I call them our sister raid team. They're kind of like the big brothers. They come in every now and then and like make sure their little brothers are doing well in the normals.
And I know Allie's joined recently, so it's been cool.
She's one of the more recent joins, but she's a fun and great person. It's hard to explain the chickens, and it's never the same on any given night because it just depends on which compilation of people show up that night and what mood everyone's in. Because this last Tuesday was one of those, wow, this is a special night. We are something extra tonight, guys. Great. But everyone was laughing, everyone was joking. There were comments in the Discord later of like, man, this week started off crappy, but thanks. Tonight has made everything right. It's awesome. They're just, everyone's a great group to run with. Like, you've got the quiet people, you've got the loud and boisterous ones, you've got the OG hardcores who just are done with doing it on the hardcore scene. You've got the new people who are just trying to figure out, what is this raid thing? What are we doing? How does this work? Like I said, it's a really fun flex mode, family friendly, chill, laid back, but still get it done kind of group.
That's one thing I've heard from people who are part of chickens. And
I say Cara leads a great team and is a wonderful and great raid leader, as much credit as she doesn't want to give herself. As I always tell people, they're like, what do you do in there? I'm like, I just show up and hit things every week. That's what I do. I'm not going to lie. Sometimes I don't read the Discord. And as we were sitting there at dinner, I'm like, so what are we doing tonight? And Kara's like, really? And I'm like, never mind. I didn't say that. I'll go read Discord. Forget I even said that. I won't be one of those. I'll read the Discord. Pretend I didn't say that. I show up and hit things. That's what I do. Sometimes I'll watch videos. Sometimes I'll just read the dungeon journal. Very rarely anymore is there a fight that there's something so new and unique about it that I can't just figure it out by reading the dungeon journal and me and the other tank just kind of going in and winging it. It's like, okay, I'm getting a stack. How much is this hurting? Okay, we should probably taunt this off like every 4 until we figure out how bad this hurts. Okay, we can go to 6. Let's do that. Wait, what is this? Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's just, we're just like typing between ourselves the whole time, sometimes on a new fight that we both just didn't watch the video. I'll be honest though, he probably does more homework than I do. Again, when you've been tanking since Ice Crown and you main tanked Arthas with 10 frames per second because your PC was trash at the time, there's not much I can't take now that I'm just like, whatever. When your PC was so trash that to get around Dalaran, I had to zoom all the way into first person view, look down at the ground so it didn't want to render anyone else, and walk around using the mini map, and it's still trash. Like, I don't know how I was able to tank that fight on that rig, because every now and then it would even drop to like 5 frames, and I'm like, okay, sure, whatever, I got this.
It's interesting that you mention winging it and coming out and showing up and hitting things, because I think tonight you hit it out of the park.
I've always said I'm a wonderful wordsmith. Don't ask me to write any of this down or put it grammatically in writing. Like, English class was not my best, but I have talked my way out of more things in my life than I would care to admit. So when it comes to just sitting down and making words, especially when there's beautiful show notes here that I can kind of glance over and, okay, where are we at? What are we doing? We could keep going for like another 2 hours if we really didn't need to like get to bed and stuff. I could just shoot the breeze with you for another 2 hours. You want to do this again in the future? You just let me know. I'm game. Let's do this.
I'm definitely back. And the reason I won't go for another 2 hours is I also got to edit it.
Yeah. Well, hopefully I didn't mess up too much or make too many long pauses so that we don't really need to do too much editing.
Well, I'll never tell you. You know how there's secrets, and there's secrets that Cara won't let you tell? I won't tell my secrets as an editor. So
that's fair. Trade secrets. You want to know some of my recipes? No.
Yeah, exactly. See, I won't tell you my editing secrets.
I will leave a death book that when I die, okay, now you can have them. They're there.
Oh,
knock yourselves out. Beyond that, no, they're mine.
If people want to stalk your Twitter to see when you die, so they can then go to the auction for your death book, where can they find you?
At Habant. HABANT.
At Habant Dark.
Oh, is it dark? I thought I fixed that.
I messed up today on Twitter and tweeted out that it was at Habant.
Oh, it is Habant Dark. You are correct. That harkens Habant Dark. That's right. I don't even know my own social. That also harkens back to the original WoW days because we were on Dark Iron, so I just put the dark at the end.
Cara's the one who.
Cara's yelling. She's yelling at me because I don't even know my own socials. I don't post a lot on there, so I don't really remember. I do a lot of liking and retweeting and stuff like that. Every now and then something grinds my gears enough that I'm like, all right, I need to say something. But social media for me is more of the indulge than the give out. But again, well, I guess let's come back around. Whenever I break over that mental hump of making it fun and not work, there'll be more there eventually.
You keep talking about grind my gears and stuff like that. Are you sure you're not a goblin or a gnome?
No, I just love Bender from Futurama.
Okay. I'll give you that.
Futurama is, if there's a top 3 in cartoons of life, Ren and Stimpy, Invader Zim, Futurama. Those are the top 3. Maybe not even in that order, depending on the day.
Activating customized Corpus A transporter.
Well, I am back at my home of Ironforge until we one day reclaim Gnomergon.
Wow, I'm a gnome.
Let's look at what has been happening in the community.
Awesome idea. Let's do that. So BlizzCon is coming, and we have a few events to talk about. So DitchCon and Con Before the Storm. DitchCon is on Wednesday, October 30th from 8:30 to 1 a.m. It's free. Registration is required on their site. Come dressed as a villain and prepare for a fun time. Drinking, mingling, and DJ Grange along with swag giveaways and a Michael Jackson dance-off. And the Con Before the Storm is Thursday, October 31st from 5 p.m. to midnight. It's powered by Wowhead. Free. There's no registration required. You can meet guest personalities, podcasters, streamers, pro teams, artists, and people from your favorite fan sites. There'll be a fan art gallery, photo booth, World of Podcasts, and more. And speaking of World of Podcasts, I've been asked to be a moderator on Pod Before the Con on October 27th at 7 p.m. Eastern. So it'll be kind of like FrazlCast, except you won't hear my feedback back to guests like you hear on this show. Subpanelists are Ali, Berserker, Katie, Garisar, Frosty Fox, and Tosh Mifune. So of all those, 5 of them have been on FrazlCast, and 1 is going to be on a future FrazlCast. I've already written them down, and I'm going to make sure that we talk with them soon. And Dungeon Fables for Azeroth, Merely a Setback, and Morally Great podcast are planning a BlizzCon meetup called the Council of Beersfall. So it will be at the Anaheim Hilton on Thursday, October 31st. So I will let you know when I hear the time. I haven't heard anything yet, but keep an eye on their Twitters and their Discord channels and all the places you can find all the awesome podcasts. And like I was reporting on last week, WoW reports that Blizzard has teamed up with Meltdown Bars. They have 20 locations across the world for viewing parties around BlizzCon on November 1st. I've got a link in the show notes to WoWhead's article on it, but it sounds like a lot of fun. And I mentioned Brian Keebler's statement at the beginning of the episode. So Jane Allenbrack released a statement during the editing of the episode, so I have a link in the show notes. Plus, there are many podcasts out there that are covering this topic. Well, there's been another episode of FrazlCast, so you won't be hearing the Frazzle Report in this episode, as we talked about the 8.3 news with Habant. So I don't want to be redundant with my coverage of 8.3, and I snuck in some of the puns from the report into this episode. So I want to give a shout out to my friend Crushinator, who just launched their podcast. The description is Crush's Cavern. It's a solo podcast where Crushinator gives you his perspective on games, goals, and life challenges. Crush has been a supporter of this show, so please go and give them a listen as well. And someone who has been giving me a lot of support over the years is Navox. So I was on Unshackled Fury, episode 60, and I had a blast. So it's been about a year since I talked with both of them on FrazlCast, and then it was not together. I mean, they were kind of separate. You know, that was a fun episode. But two warriors I'm proud to call friends. So listen to all three of us together, warriors raging it up in one waveform. Though Berserker kind of recorded us in multi-track. Okay, podcaster humor. Anyway, every episode I'd like to thank those who give back to this show financially through Twitch. Thank you to my Twitch subs out there, Alessander, Amanda, Capo, Chris, Cogspring, Crunk, Cynic Dark, Gia Miabia, Jen, Karenzi, Chris, Leo Wild, Michael, Navax, Peroy, Resurus, Seekjat, Journey Knight, Space Budgie, Sinister Gaming, Telleroid, Tom, Thorn, Valicia, Watson 0715, Winchester, and Zorts. And thank you to the Capo for the bits. If you want to support the show financially, please go to support.gnomepodcast.com. If you have Twitch Prime through Amazon Prime, you can use your free Twitch Prime subscription on my channel. It gets you ad-free viewing, you get awesome emotes, and all of your support goes to helping support this labor of love. Well, I am Frazley, and you can find the show at gnomepodcast.com. So until next week, be awesome.
You look to me like a slacker.
Yeah, that's right. That's right, I am a slacker.
Join these two slackers for a bi-weekly chat about beer, gaming, tech, and something random every show.
Just search Slackers Studio in your favorite podcast app. If you can be bothered.
You're a slacker.
FrazlCast is a fan podcast that covers Blizzard games. We are not affiliated with Blizzard Entertainment, Inc. Views expressed by the hosts and guests are their own. Some of the art, music, and sound effects come from Blizzard games and are owned by Blizzard Entertainment, Inc. No copyright infringement is intended. The Gnome Train intro is by Allie of Dungeon Fables and All Things Azeroth, and the opening music is by Brandon T. Blaylock.
This show is brought to you by Dragon Powered Studio. Find more at dragonpoweredstudio.com.